Immigrant stories are going to be a lot less inspiring in the future. My grandfather came to this country with nothing but $5 million and the clothes in his custom Louis Vuitton 5-piece trunk set. Although I have to admit, I don't totally hate the idea of buying your way into a country.
Donald Trump attacked Desi Lydic as though the old playbook would deliver the same results. Dismiss the host, declare the show dead, ridicule the viewers, and let everyone amplify the insult instead of the humor. He had run the identical tactic against journalists, legal figures, entertainers, and opponents for years. But this time, Desi refused to hand him the reaction he was hunting for. She did not sigh dramatically, talk over the footage, or appear hurt. She simply turned toward the camera with a steady smile and allowed the insult to hang in the air until it began shrinking on its own. Then she responded. She said, "Donald, if I am so irrelevant, why are you reviewing me like I am homework you forgot to finish?" The studio burst into noise, but Desi remained composed. That stillness was precisely what gave the response its force. She had no need to mirror Trump's energy because the contradiction had already made her point. A genuinely irrelevant performer does not earn presidential commentary. A worthless joke does not travel through rallies, posts, grievances, and furious rebuttals. Trump had intended to crush her with his words, but his own fixation became her platform.
Did this guy just put a cover charge on America? It's $5 million to get in, but he'll waive it if you bring in 3 hot girls with you. I mean, I guess it beats the old way of becoming a citizen, which was to marry Donald Trump, but still.
Stay with this because that is exactly where Desi elevated the moment into something larger. She introduced what she called the Trump insult translator. When Trump says failing, she explained, it typically signals that someone has gotten under his skin. When he says nobody watches, it means he was watching. When he says talentless, it means the joke cut close enough to sting. The crowd laughed because the translations felt uncomfortably precise. That was the opening blow. Then Desi pulled the energy back. She said, Trump's issue is not simply that he resents criticism. Every person in public life resents criticism. The deeper issue is that he treats criticism as an enemy to be eliminated. A journalist becomes a fraud. A prosecutor becomes a partisan. A judge becomes compromised. A comedian becomes unwatchable.
Obviously, Trump didn't bring everybody into the Oval Office just to sell hats. He was there to sell something much more fancy.
We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus.
Oh!
The individual shifts, but the strategy never does. Undermine the source so the substance never requires a response. But that was only the foundation. Desi said the most composed move she could make was to request specifics. Which joke was inaccurate? Which clip distorted the truth? Which fact required clarification? She said if she had gotten anything wrong, then correct it. Produce the quote. Produce the date. Produce the context. But if the only reply is yet another personal attack, then that attack is not a correction. It is a smokescreen. The studio grew noticeably quieter at that point because the comedy had transformed into a challenge. For older viewers at home, that beat carried real significance. They have watched politicians sidestep difficult questions before. They have seen powerful figures laugh away accountability, blame the media, and go after anyone who refuses to applaud. But they also remember a time when leaders were held to a standard of clear answers. You could object. You could push back, but you still had to face the question directly. Desi's composure made Trump's assault appear even louder and more hollow. Had she raised her voice, he could have labeled her unhinged. Had she appeared wounded, he could have claimed the win. Had she matched his cruelty with her own, the exchange would have dissolved into just another rivalry. Instead, she remained measured, almost lighthearted, and that discipline caused the insult to cave in on itself. Then she delivered the line that stopped the country cold. She said, "A man who labels every critic weak is usually revealing which word frightens him most." The applause did not arrive right away. First came the silence of recognition. The audience grasped the reversal immediately. Trump had set out to diminish Desi, but she had made his response appear brittle. He had wanted to turn the crowd against the comedian, but she redirected the crowd toward the pattern itself. Then Desi added one final cut. She said, "Strong people do not need every joke punished, every question rebranded, and every critic dragged through the dirt. Strong people can laugh, respond, ignore, or walk away. Panic is what needs a press release. Insecurity is what needs a nickname. Fear is what needs the room convinced that every opponent is already losing." By the closing moment, Trump's insult no longer carried the weight of dominance. It sounded like testimony. Desi had not prevailed by striking harder. She had prevailed by speaking more clearly. She converted his assault into a mirror and then stepped back while the audience examined what it reflected. That was the quiet authority of the moment. She let the insult expose itself before Trump could slip out from under the contradiction entirely. That is why the moment stayed with people long after it ended. Desi Lydic composed reply stunned America because it reminded viewers that comedy does not require volume to carry power. Sometimes the most devastating answer is the one that refuses to flinch. Beneath those studio lights, Trump came to make her the joke. Desi made his overreaction the headline. And once the audience recognized that, every insult that followed sounded hollower, because a man who truly does not care never works that hard to prove it on live television.